Hello, Honors Geometry, and welcome to the first lesson, actually, of geometry content. We're in our first unit, which is Geometry Basics. We cover the vocab, the formulas, the terminology you're going to see in every other unit here past. We're going to talk about this in this unit. So we're going to start out with basics. We're going to talk about points, lines. I'm going to tell you a little bit about planes. Planes will come up here later. I just wanted to get you somewhat familiar, see some pictures of what they look like. So starting off here, what starts out geometry into being geometry is a point. Okay, a point you saw back in Algebra 1, but we don't really talk about that being a point. A point shows location. Why I say you talk about points back in Algebra 1 is I think about the coordinate plane. When you were putting coordinates like x comma y, those dots on the xy axis, your graph or your grid, those were actual points. You are plotting a specific location. Okay, so a point is a location. What does a point look like? Well, a point looks like a dot. Okay, simply it's just going to be a dot. Now, when we get to the part of using them in geometry, you're going to see them look like a dot with a capital letter beside it. So if we have to go about naming that, okay, if you want to physically tell me what you see in the picture, you're going to say point, and then right after it, you are going to tell me the capital letter that you see with it. Okay, by saying point, then that capital letter, that allows the person who you're maybe describing it to know exactly what they are looking at. So, for example, if I have a dot with a capital B, I'm going to name and say that this is point with a capital B. Now, sometimes I will tell you, you will see it just by a capital letter by itself. Okay, sometimes they will just say B in a capital letter. That's, again, an acceptable way. You just have to remember that capital letters only go with points. Okay, but a lot of times, 99% of the time, you see it written like this. Sometimes you will see it like this, especially when we get into shapes and they talk about the points that make the corner of the shape. They will not do point this, point this, point this, point this. They'll just do shape and then name all the points side by side. Okay, we will see that here later on when we get into triangles to start. So now that we have points, points help create lines. So how is a line made? A line is made by 2 points. So anytime that you have 2 points, if you connect them, it creates a line. Okay, now, what does a line look like? If I draw it, a line looks like it has arrows on both sides, and it has a bar in there connecting the arrows. Okay, the big thing about a line is it goes on forever. There's no stopping point. That's why it has these arrows. Arrows mean it goes on forever. We're not going to stop. In class, I'm going to talk about special types of lines. Like there's line segments. Those stop because they have endpoints or dots on both sides. We'll talk about rays, which rays is a marriage of those two. Okay, we will talk about those in class together, so we will. How do you name a line? There are 2 ways to name a line. Okay, one way is to name it with 2 points that are on the line with the symbol above the 2 points. We do a symbol above of a line above the 2 points. Okay, the other way to name it is to write the word line, and then you're going to have this fancy letter. It's called a script letter, and it is lowercase. And I always say it looks fancy or it looks a little cursive. That's how you know if you have a script letter. It's going to be lowercase and it's going to look fancy or a little cursive. That is what an L looks like as a script. So let's look here at an example of naming both ways. So first off, I know that this is a line because it has arrows on both sides. Okay, I'm going to put in here points. Okay, so if you were naming this by 2 points, you choose any 2 points that are identified on the line, you write them in any order. So I could write this as EF or FE. It does not matter the order. Once you choose the order you want to use, all that you do is above it, you draw a little line symbol above it. Now, this one also has a script letter. Sometimes you will see it written as line P. Sometimes you just have the letter here by itself, okay, which we'll see here in an example. Okay, you just do write the word line and then write that little script letter, which in this case was a P. Notice how it looks fancy. It's a cursive and it is lowercase. Okay, so now, what does collinear mean? It has the word, first off, linear, which means line. Okay, so really this is points on the same line. Going back up here to this example, E and F are collinear because they are on the same line. So anytime they ask you for collinear points or they ask you for non-collinear points, you are naming points if they are on the same line, if they say collinear. If they say non-collinear, you're looking for points that are on different lines. Okay, and what does it look like when lines cross? Let's draw an example. Okay, if I have 2 lines, I want them to cross. The big thing is where they cross at a point. They cross only at this particular point, nowhere else. Okay, so to name the intersection of lines, you're naming it by point and whatever that is. Okay, now, we get in here to planes, and like I said, I'm going to briefly talk about planes, but not spend a lot of time. We just want you to get familiar with it. So a plane is made up of 3 points, but really a plane looks like a flat surface. I always like to tell my students it looks like a piece of paper. Okay, planes are something that are a little bit more 3D. Planes are also like a side of a shape. So like here is a cube figure. Okay, this side of my cube that has this snooze button, this light button, that is a plane. The side that has the face of the clock, that is a plane. Okay, the side that's at the bottom, that is a plane. Okay, I could do that with really any shape that I have. Okay, even looking at the calculator, the front of the calculator, that is a plane. Okay, we're not going to write anything down from it. I just want you to be familiar when we get into our shapes, especially our 3D shapes. We'll be talking more about planes there. Okay, what I want to spend our time is looking at some examples. Okay, so we know what we're looking for, and that's what we're going to spend our time with also next class. So here on A, they want me to name 4 collinear points. So first off, collinear. These are points on the same line. So really, they want me to name 4 points on the same line. Okay, well, there's only one line up here that has 4 points on it, and it's this line that's going up and down, and it has points H, N, K, and I. So I'm going to name the points. Point H, point N, point K, and point I. Remember, I'm remembering how to name a point. You always name a point, write point in front of it, then you write the capital letter. Could I write this another way? Yes. Remember, another way to write this is just the capital letter and ignoring the word point. It is up to you what you prefer. You will see this here later on, but you can always write it this way as well. Okay, name a line that contains point N. Here is point N. Okay, I identified where it is. Now, N is on two lines. Okay, particularly N is on this one that goes side to side and up and down. You can choose whichever one to name. Let's say we choose the side to side. Okay, I'm going to circle this because then I'm able to erase this since I'm using pencil. Okay, if we talk about naming that line that is from side to side, one way to name it is to choose 2 points. Even if there's more than 2 points, you only choose 2 points. 2 points on this line will say are M and O. You write them in any order, you put the symbol of a line above it. Or, notice, this P is a script, it looks like italicized, which is what sometimes it will look like to represent script on a piece of paper. So I could also name this line P. Either way works. Could I use the up and down? Absolutely. What you're actually going to learn this first lesson in geometry, there are multiple answers. So if you want to check whether your answer was right or wrong because you got something different than me, message me. Ask me, is this correct? I will give you automatic feedback. Okay, looking here at C, name a line that contains points J and L. Okay, so I'm going to erase the line, the circle that we did last time. I'm going to circle J and L. There's J. Okay, and here's L. Name a line that contains it. Well, the only one that contains it that they're both on is this one going side to side. First off, one way to name it is with letters. I could use J and L and put the line symbol above it. Those are 2 points, and I put that symbol above. Or I can name it with the script letter of Q, so I can name it line Q. Okay, what is another way to name line R that is up and down? This already used the script letter, so you have to use 2 points. You can choose any 2 points on R. There's H, N, K, and I. Okay, I'll just do H-I, hi, and then put the symbol of a line above it. Is there more options than all this? Yes, I'm just choosing one. Again, if you have questions on yours, message me. Okay, and then where does line Q and R intersect? Here's R and Q. Okay, they cross over right here below, which I circled. They always cross at a point. In this case, it's point A. 2 lines will always cross at a point. Okay, looking here at the next page. Okay, I'm going to skip over the second example. That's all on planes. But just something that looks familiar. This will be something we talk about. This is a 3D shape. Okay, the sides of this 3D shape are always planes. Even that bottom is a plane. Okay, looking here at 3, we're going to talk about the line question. Okay, physically, if you wanted to see what this picture looked like, your piece of paper, okay, could be considered that plane, which is this outline of box. Okay, it's actually plane M when we talk about it. So your paper could be considered the plane, and then that line is like this pencil in between it. So I have my plane, and then my line is the pencil. The dotted portion is the line that's underneath the plane. The solid portion of the line is what is above on the plane. Okay, so let's look here at this question. So name a line containing point F. Okay, here is F. It is only on this line right here. Okay, I can name that DE. That's 2 points on it with the line symbol. Or I can name this line J. Okay, that is my script letter. Okay, name another, what is another name for line K? K is this one going through the paper, like I said. The dotted portion is what's below the plane. Okay, the solid is what is here above. Okay, this would be my solid, and then my dotted. Okay, so what's another name for K? Choose any 2 points on that. I see a B and I see a C, and I'll put my line symbol above. Okay, we're not going to cover C. That talks about planes. Okay, name 3 non-collinear. Okay, the key word on this one is not. So, not points on a same line. So, collinear means points on the same line. The non in front puts that not. So, I want to name 3 not points on the same line. So, I can choose any 3 points as long as they're not on the same line. They are non-collinear. So, let's say I choose point A, which I'm going to just do the capital letters and not write the word points in front of it. I can choose B, and I can choose C. Okay, A, B, and C are not all on the same line, so we're good to go. Okay, and then these last ones talk about plane, and we're not going to get into those right now. Okay, that gets you done here with your first lesson. So when we come back into class, I'm going to talk about those other special lines. We're going to focus on, can we name, okay, our points and our lines correctly. We'll have a bunch of different interactions of questions for you to be able to answer. If you have any questions on what I covered here in the lesson, make sure to ask it at the end of the video, and I will see you here in class to start our year on geometry topics. Have a great day, everyone.